best quotes of all time, where the greatest quotes on the planet become your superpower.
What you do not want others to do to you, do not do to others. Author unknown. The underground stream that nourishes human character through generations. It is not just advice on how to behave, but also a mirror reflecting the inner self, forcing each person to pause for a beat amid the rush of life to ask, is my action today harming anyone? When we do not want to be deceived, hurt, disregarded, or abandoned, then we ourselves should not sow those things into the lives of others. This rule is like a silent cycle of cause and effect in motion. Sow seeds of goodness and eventually reap peace. Sow thorny seeds and your own hands will be scratched. In modern life, full of competition, people easily get swept up in ego, in winning, losing, gaining, losing, forgetting that every word, every action leaves a mark on another's soul. Just by putting ourselves in the other's position a little, we will learn to speak more gently, behave more tolerantly, and act more responsibly. When everyone knows to restrain themselves before hurting others, society will have fewer sharp clashes, replaced by silent but enduring understanding, a moral principle, and also the key that opens the door to compassion, helping people live slower, deeper, and find peace in the way they treat life. Learning without thinking is useless. Thinking without learning is dangerous. Author unknown. The correct path of knowledge and maturity. Learning, if it stops at passively receiving information, is like walking in the dark, carrying a lamp, but never lighting it. Knowledge, then, just lies still on the page, not blending into thought, not becoming inner strength to illuminate action. Conversely, thinking without a foundation of learning is like a boat setting out to sea without a map, easily lost in the vast ocean of emotions and subjective guesses. Those seemingly profound ideas sometimes are just illusions, easily leading people to mistakes and extremism. Between learning and thinking exists a subtle, resonant relationship. Learning helps us broaden our vision, access humanity's essence. Thinking helps us filter, absorb, and turn that knowledge into our own. When these two elements blend, people not only receive knowledge vividly, but also know how to apply it flexibly in life. That is when learning becomes a journey of enlightenment, not rigid, but full of creativity. And thinking becomes solid, not one-sided or emotional. Each of us knows that wisdom truly blossoms only when learning and thinking go hand in hand, supporting each other, for people to mature in both knowledge and character. To know what you know and what you do not know, that is true knowledge. Author unknown. The true essence of wisdom. In life, people often confuse knowing a lot with knowing correctly. Some, with a bit of knowledge, hastily don the cloak of self-satisfaction, seeing it as a measure of self-worth. But true knowledge does not lie in display, but in the ability to recognize one's own limits. Daring to admit, I don't know yet, is not weakness, but a sign of courage and honesty with oneself. When a person clearly understands what they know and frankly accepts what they don't, they open the door to ceaseless learning. Like an empty vessel that can receive cool water, a humble mind has room for new knowledge to flow in. Conversely, those who think themselves knowledgeable despite shallow understanding are no different from a vessel full of illusions, unable to hold anything valuable. In the journey of growth, it is the honest attitude toward one's knowledge that helps people avoid misconceptions, mistakes, and arrogance. Wisdom does not lie in how much one can say, but in knowing how to listen, learn, and bow before what one does not understand. When people maintain that sobriety, knowledge is no longer a boastful burden, but becomes a silent light guiding character and life. The superior man does not worry about lacking position, but worries about lacking the virtue to deserve the position. Author unknown. The true value of a person in society. Amid the competitive flow of life, where fame and fortune sometimes become the sole measure of success, this teaching is like a shining lamp, helping people return to the core of character. Position, title, or power are merely outer garments that can come and go with time, but talent and virtue are the enduring foundation, determining if a person truly deserves the position they hold. The superior man understands that if one only chases status while forgetting to cultivate oneself, even if achieving power, it is like standing on a wobbly chair, bound to lose balance sooner or later. Conversely, by constantly honing knowledge, polishing morals, perfecting character, no matter the position, they still radiate unique value and earn respect from others. Talent helps people work effectively, while virtue helps them use power correctly, not for personal gain that harms others. For those stepping onto the path of career, a guiding compass for long-term living, learn to turn inward, self-reflect each day. Do I have enough ability yet? Enough tolerance and integrity yet? When people prioritize cultivating talent and virtue over the desire for status, society will have more leaders with heart and vision, not just power. And at that moment, a person's value is truly affirmed in a sustainable and respectable way. When angry, think about the consequences. Author unknown. In the most impulsive, emotional moments of people, anger is a natural reflex. Everyone has times when they cannot restrain themselves before hurt, injustice, or disappointment. But in that very moment, if letting anger lead the way, people easily lose reason, say words that hurt others, or act in ways that cause lifelong regret. A word spoken in anger can shatter feelings built over many years. A thoughtless action can leave irreparable consequences. Thinking about consequences does not mean suppressing emotions or denying one's frustrations, but learning to pause for a beat to see beyond the immediate. When we ask ourselves, if I say this, how will the other person be? If I do this, what will tomorrow be like? The anger seems to slow down, making way for reason to speak. That is when people learn to master emotions instead of letting emotions control them. Like a flame, if controlled, it warms. If unleashed, it can burn everything. The person who thinks of consequences when angry is approaching maturity and resilience. They understand that true strength does not lie in venting all anger outward, but in the ability to stay calm, choose silence at the right time, and act correctly. When people master anger, they not only protect others from harm, but also preserve peace for their own soul.